Moving on to our next guest. Imagine, if you will, that you're getting ready to cook dinner for your family. You wander outside, you pluck a few choices of veggies and fresh herbs, and then you're left with just one more important decision. Should you catch a tilapia to steam with a blanket of minced ginger, or is it better to fish out a plump grass carp to deep fry and top with a sambal sauce?
Yummy.
Now, you might think this is a scenario that might only work if you have a sprawling farm on the outskirts of the city, but the good folks from PopTani are here to show us that it's quite possible to live this way in Montiara, Hartamas, and Bangsa as well. Take a look at this video to see what we mean.
Hello there! Do you want to be a cool hip farmer just like me, but the city life is getting in the way? Have no fear, the pop is here! Auga! PopTani proudly presents the PopTani Home Aquaponics Set. Within your box you shall find an aquarium bowl, a grow bed, a water pump, a pipe, and a mini hose. Optional items you can order are planting seeds, some jiffies, and a good old bag of pebbles. Putting your set together is very easy. First, plug in the tip of the mini hose into the pipe. Then insert the pipe into the bottom of the grow bed. Make sure the tip is inserted properly. Now take the other end of the mini hose and fit that into your pump. Now the fun part. You can decorate your bowl however you like and fill it up with water. Plug in the pump and give it a good test to see the water system is cycling properly. And all you gotta do is add the fishes. Look at them go! Now it's time to fill up the grow bed. Personally, I like to use pebbles. Now select which seeds you want to plant. You can either carpet bomb the soil bed, or you can use a jiffy. Once it has expanded, just drop the seeds in. Once these bad boys are a little bigger, you can then transfer them to the grow bed. Just make sure they get sufficient sunlight and your plant shall grow. It's good to switch off the pump when you go to bed and switch it on when you wake up to help save your electricity bill. Here is a ridiculously long list of all the different plants you can grow. Well, before you go off on your planting adventures, let me give you a few pointers. If the water in the tank becomes murky, just empty out the dirty water and replace it with clean H2O. If the pipe gets clogged, you will need a special piece of equipment, the chopstick. Just stick it through and hi-ya! If your pump gets too battered, just call us and you can make an order for a replacement. Or we can close our eyes and you can go and buy your own pump. So there you go. Now you know everything you need to know to become a cool city farmer just like the pop here. So go forth and plant your seeds and reap the fruits of your labor. Auga! In the meantime, please do visit us at PopTani Asia via the Facebook.
I am hooked
So
because of that
cute.
voice and the video. Yasmin, thank you for joining us yet again on VBuxx. And Shahnaz, welcome to VBuxx. This is your first time. Both of you, fantastic job. Thank you so much for joining us, by the way.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. Now tell us, first off, what is PopTani?
Okay, PopTani is a company that we set up, and the vision that we have is to put a farm in every house.
Okay.
You know, right now...
Sounds so simple.
Yeah, sounds so simple. You know, Bill Gates, desktop in every home, I think we can do it too.
That's fantastic. But, you know, before we can actually get into the nitty-gritty of the entire project, how did y'all two meet and how did this idea come about? There must have been like a circumference or something must have happened there.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yes.
Well, we've been friends for a while. But it was 5 years ago when I was introduced to this whole idea of aquaponics.
Okay.
A friend of mine came back from Australia and said it's a big thing there because in Australia farming is very they have to conserve water, especially if they are in the middle part of Australia where water is not so easy. So they introduced aquaponics into their system so that they can recycle back the water that they're using in their farming.
Right.
So he came back from Australia and said, hey, let's build an aquaponics unit in our house.
Right.
So 5 years ago, I ordered fiberglass tanks and put it in front of my house. And every single day, my wife was going, get that thing off my garden. It's ugly.
She sounds like a really fierce person. But
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
But it's still there until today.
It was functioning, and we
still
had
there.
good kangkong, bayam, and tilapia that we were growing, and my kids were having so much fun with it. But it was just that it wasn't so good looking, lah.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the difference then between aquaponics and hydroponics?
Okay, the difference is in aquaponics, the water is recycled back into the system, whereas hydroponics, it flows, back into the either river or sewage areas or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So in our system, it's 100% organic because we're actually using fertilizer that's coming out from the fish to supplement the plants, and the plants and the soil kind of refreshes the water back for the fish. Right. So it's a beautiful system.
So there is a cycle basically where everything is done by itself. But the thing is, you mentioned your house and your wife wasn't exactly happy with. In terms of space and requirements to execute this project, what are we looking at?
All right. So when PopTani started, I just had one thing in my mind. It has to be good looking enough for people to have it in their homes. Okay. Based on my wife's feedback, right?
That's important.
Yeah. So we then started coming up with kits that will be sufficient in your home. Let's say if you have an apartment and you don't have much space, we have an indoor unit. Let's say you have a balcony that you don't know what to use with it. We have a 4-feet unit that fits in your balcony. Or you have a porch, then we have a 6-feet, 7-feet unit that can fit into your porch or your garden. We also customize for people's ponds and also their, koi ponds that they have in their homes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all this came about because we wanted it to look good, so that it's part of a feature in someone's home, especially in the city.
So it's accepted?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you have in your home? Yes.
I have a little gumball series, which is our first prototype, which sits indoor. Right. My kids love tinkering with it. I think it's also very therapeutic to a certain extent to hear the flow of water and to see simple herbs growing in it.
Yeah. And did it look exactly like the one in the video with fish at the bottom? And
Yes.
That's so cool.
It looks exactly like that, and it comes in 6 colors. That was our first prototype, which we launched last year to kind of validate and see whether is urban farming something that is digestible by the general public. And of course, we're talking about trying to change the behavior and mindsets of urban population, because most of us, if we need food, we just either go drive-through or we go to a supermarket and get everything we need. And we've kind of lost this skill of growing our own food, basically, at home. So our vision is actually just trying to get urbanites more positive about urban farming, making it look easier, making it look cool. Obviously, design plays a big component to it. And I also like to add that aquaponics is actually an open source concept. Anyone can actually do aquaponics. What we're trying to do is sexify it a little bit more so that urbanites would thirst for this kind of knowledge and start growing something.
I like that word, sexify.
Yeah, and speaking about urbanites and learning more, stick around, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we return, you will learn more and so much more right after this break.
Doctors at Winmin. பொது அறுவை சிகிச்சை, மகளிர் மருத்துவம், குழந்தைகள் நல மருத்துவம் மற்றும் பல துறைகள் சம்பந்தமான மருத்துவர்கள் உங்கள் சந்தேகங்களுக்கு பதில் அளிக்க இருக்கிறார்கள்.
பிரஷர் பண்ணி குனிஞ்சு நிமிர வேண்டாம், ரொம்ப பிரஷர் கொடுத்து வெயிட் தூக்க வேண்டாம். இதெல்லாம் அவாய்ட் பண்ணிட்டீங்கனாவே உங்களுக்கு வேற எதுவும் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கிறதுக்கான சான்சஸ் கிடையாது.
இந்த மருத்துவ நிகழ்ச்சிகளை திங்கள் முதல் வெள்ளி வரை ஆஸ்ட்ரோ விண்மீன் HDயில் கண்டு பயனடையுங்கள்.
I received a call from producer, so he said, okay, congratulations Saran, you have been selected for the main role. My character name is Muthu. This Muthu had a dream where he wants to win the Olympic. Can do it? Yeah, we can do it. It's very hard for me to become a goalkeeper because it's very new for me. That we had a lot of challenging moments where there's a monkey bar, we have to climb. I do a lot of researches how to be a naturally looking goalkeeper. Every goal we celebrate it like a real goal. In this Alabala movie, it will show to all the audience the definition of belief. Ola Bola is a Malaysian movie. I think I am so lucky to be in it. Ada satu team, spirit. Spirit dia nak menang saja. If you believe in yourself, then only you can achieve something.
வாத்ஸ்யாயனுடைய காமத்தை அடிப்படையாக கொண்டுதான் இன்றைக்கு வரைக்கும் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் உலகம் முழுக்க தொடர்வதாக சொல்கிறார்கள்.
நரம்புகளுக்கு மிக பெரிய முக்கியமான ஒரு விஷயம் இருக்கு, கெமிக்கல்ஸுக்கு ஒரு முக்கியமான விஷயம் இருக்கு செக்ஸ்லன்றத நிரூபிக்கப்பட்டாங்க. இதுவரை இலக்கியங்கள்ல பேசப்பட்ட செக்ஸ் முதன்முறையாக விஞ்ஞானமாக மாற்றப்பட்டு அதற்கான தீர்வை நோக்கி அது பயணித்தது. அதான் மாஸ்டர்ஸ் அண்ட் ஜான்சன் தான் முதன்முதலாக முற்றிலுமாக அது விஞ்ஞானமாக மாற்றியது.
Thanks for staying with us. As you can see, we've got Shahnaz and Yasmin from PopTani here. And Yasmin, before we went to the break, I was about to ask you this question, which is quite a realistic question. Because realistically, in terms of vegetables and fish and rearing, what am I looking at?
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about having a smaller unit, obviously you would probably limit yourself to growing maybe herbs, basil, mint, spearmint, lemon balm, stevia. I mean, these are what we're growing currently in the office.
Yeah.
The bigger units, we've had kangkong, Japanese cucumber, spinach, what else?
Timun, cucumber, yeah. Okra.
Brinjals, yeah, a variety of things that you can harvest more.
Yeah.
Right.
So every 3 weeks, you can safely say you can harvest your spinach or kangkong for your home consumption.
Wow.
Every 3 weeks?
Every 3 weeks. Vegetables grow very fast.
Yeah.
And with the aquaponics, actually, we've demonstrated on soil. Remember the ones outside and then the one aquaponics? The one aquaponics seems to grow fatter and healthier, and definitely the circumference and all that. It's definitely a healthier option.
Yeah.
For fish, we've got prawns, freshwater
Crayfish.
lobsters, crayfish, tilapia, soon hawk. Quite expensive fish as well.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about actually upscaling aquaponics or urban farming to this level, and if every community does it, you're actually talking about a high economic impact activity. So a soon hawk during Chinese New Year can fetch you
120 ringgit per kilo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So how long?
During Chinese New Year.
Okay, if I'm not the patient type, how long do I have?
Goldfish.
Oh no, I can't eat goldfish. How long do I have to wait before I can harvest? Like kangkong, 3 weeks for kangkong, but yeah, the fish, tilapia and stuff like that.
Now, we are no expert. It's not like we have a 1 acre farm somewhere that we can compare it with. But just because of we experimenting it together in our own houses, it takes about 3 weeks to a month for kangkong, 3 weeks to a month for bayam. Any leafy veggies takes about that long for it to fully mature. Okay. Fish, sometimes it takes longer because I'm not the kind who will, give this special supplement to the fish so that it will grow faster and fatter and all that. It's just, sometimes I'll just pluck whatever leaves that's dead from the veggie and throw it into the tilapias and they will eat it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Fish are quite healthy.
Yeah. I want to test and see how far I can stretch my system. So I'm not the kind who will be very, very particular because my consumers will be, the customers will be, but my job is to push and see how far I can take this system. That's my job.
Yeah. Speaking about consumers, is urban farming difficult? I mean, let's be honest, not everybody is a farmer wannabe. That's why we're living in the city. So to actually apply this into our lifestyle, how long does it take, Yasmin, and how hard is it to implement into our lifestyle?
Not hard at all. It takes 5 minutes or less of tinkering every day to just make sure your pumps are working, water is flowing well, your fish are healthy, no bugs, no nothing, and that's it. It's almost effortless, if you ask me. And it doesn't cost that much electricity because you don't run the pumps all 24 hours.
Then how long are you supposed to run it?
2 to 3 ringgit a month of electricity you would have to allocate for
But the pumps you mentioned, how long do the pumps have to run for?
It depends on the size of the system. Like the small units that we have, most of the time before I sleep, I just switch it off. Then I'll switch it on in the morning. And now I'm tinkering with having a timer there, where the timer just runs the system every half an hour for 2 hours. 2 hours stop, half an hour run, 2 hours stop, half an hour run. I think the biggest challenge for urbanites right now is to start. That's it. Whatever method, whatever way.
It's like going to the gym. You have to start sometime or the other.
Even if your grandma tells you this is the way to do it, do it. Just start first. I think we need to get ourselves used to the idea of failing in the first few rounds to get into momentum. I think a lot of the time, a lot of people are promising like, oh, surely it's going to grow, use this system. I don't think my system is as good as that. But I think if you continue to learn and continue to tinker with it, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So most of our customers are still those that prefer a little small indoor unit.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows that they also appreciate or value this whole living system in front of them. And it's almost like taking care of a pet. It's a lot of responsibility. People feel like, you know, that there's a bit of a fear in that, too much responsibility. But once you love something enough, you go do it.
I was about to say most people already have an aquarium there anyway. And you have to have a pump there anyway for the fish to breathe. So you might as well
grow something on top.
Just grow something on top. Makes
and
so much sense.
Even if our unit does not look good in your house, don't worry. Get something that looks good in your house and do it.
Right.
You know, start with it first.
But without all the equipment, you know, without all the fancy equipment, could you give us some simple tips of easy edible plants that we can grow at home?
Actually, a lot of herbs are very easy to grow, and it's so easy that once it starts growing one sprout, you cut, and then you can start another plant just immediately after that. We're just chuchuk like that, you know. So actually, herbs are very easy. Leafy veggies also actually very easy. I didn't know how easy it was until we started. It's like, oh my God, you know, I really don't have to do anything about it. Just let it grow, you know.
It's self-sustaining.
Almost.
At some point, we had too much. We didn't know what to do with basil. We started giving it to our neighbors. It's like, do you want mint? It looks, you know, tastes good with your tea.
Nice.
I think you have a fan over here in the studio right now.
We'll send one unit to you.
Me?
See, it pays to be a fan.
Okay,
you look like the other PopTani.
Once we jump on the bandwagon and say, for example, we really pick this up, I mean, sooner or later it's going to come to the point where, I mean, certain people will be tempted to play with the idea of having chickens in the, you know, in your area, so on and so forth. Is that allowed by the local council, Yasmin?
Oh, that's a good question. We've been toying with that idea in the office as well, because our office is actually in a, you can call it a farm, right?
Yeah.
You can call it a farm. Yeah, it's just you're scared of the monitor lizards coming inside. But maybe not chickens, maybe goose, maybe not chicken. The chicken, you got to contain it as well.
So stick with the plants and the fish for now.
Stick with the plants and the fish.
But I guess, you know, I live in Sungai Penchala. You see a lot of people, you know, having chickens and, you know, angsa and goose and everywhere. So it's like we are more worried about, you know, running over them more than anything else. With the cars, right? Because they're just roaming everywhere.
If they do it at kampong houses,
why not?
Why not? As long as your neighbors are okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think
nothing like a rooster at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock.
That's why, as long as your neighbors are okay.
It's a good wake-up call as well, a good alarm clock.
One of the ways PopTani is also trying to do this to influence communities or impact communities is helping certain communities with the system. I think last year we installed 2 units for Orang Asli, 25 families of Orang Asli who were about to start on a seafood restaurant. They didn't have any access to freshwater fish, they didn't have any access to vegetables apart from buying at the market. And by installing this system, we wanted to actually enhance their economic incentive by making sure that they can farm their vegetables and cook freshwater dishes without making a dent in their pocket.
Okay, let's talk about corporate farming for a bit. Why is large-scale corporate farming harmful? It's always debated in, you know, in a negative light. But can you share your thoughts on that?
I think it's purely a case of supply and demand. The demand is huge. So farmers are forced to find new ways and new methods to increase and accelerate growth to meet the demands. And when they do that, they start pumping in a lot of supplements into the soil, a lot of chemicals into the water, and so on and so forth. So one of the challenges that we are facing right now in this world is we don't have good soil. And one day we are going to run out of good soil because all our soil requires some time for it to reset, replenish itself, and so on. And we're not giving it enough time. And when everyone is moving into the cities and the cities are not supporting the growth of agriculture and food, then we are just relying on all these remote places to do it. And they're just going to continue increasing the supplements, increasing the chemicals so that they can support the demand coming from the city areas. So imagine if every single person in the city takes 6 feet of area in their house and start this. Imagine the kind of connection that can happen between neighbors. You plant brinjal, I plant some veggie. When I need brinjal, I just go to your house and take lah.
Yeah.
And then you come over to my house and pluck some chilies.
Yeah.
And then whoever has got fish...
It used to be like that, exactly.
It used to be like that, exactly. But it's just that right now we are running out of space in our houses.
Yeah.
So we are living in condos right now. We're living in small terrace houses right now. But if every single house were to somewhat contribute in planting something, I think we can pretty much do a lot to save, to have sustainable living happening in the urban areas.
I think that's the most important things in terms of consuming less and managing our waste management as well. In terms of how PopTani contributes to this, and if you can just help spread the word and help whoever's watching right now with a wake-up call, what would your message be, Yasmin?
My message would be never be afraid to try something new. My catalyst for actually advocating for this came because I always question what I eat. And being in the scene of knowing what happens to the environment and so forth, it's hard to actually put trust 100% in a corporate company and trust the quality of the food you eat. So I felt like I had to take matters into my own and start learning about it. I mean, I'm not a soil expert, neither am I a botanist or that. We're all tinkerers. Tinkerers who believe that maybe why is it not possible for us to do this for ourselves? And it's also spreading something very positive. I'm not saying that before this we were hunter-gatherers or very agrarian society, but we have lost this skill along the way. And we've done talks in schools before. Kids these days cannot identify where food comes from, don't know what food looks like in its natural state and form. And that is a really serious cause of concern if you're raising a next generation whose only source of understanding of where food comes from is the supermarket.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yep.
The thrill for me to see when we started this, my daughter was about 2 years old, 3 years old. And at that point, we had our tilapia growing up to about 1 kilo.
Wow.
Right? And to see my daughter holding on the fish for the first time and it's, struggling, holding on, I think that's a beautiful experience right there for my daughter.
Yeah.
And because of that, I hope, more and more kids gets to enjoy holding on to fish while it's still alive, or plucking up bayam and kangkung and seeing the roots and not seeing it in a nice polystyrene bag. You know what I mean?
Giving that experience to the next generation. But thank you so much, both of you, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
I think I might just get my PopTani kit after this.
They've already mentioned they're sending you one. Whether I get one is a different question altogether. Yasmin, Shahnaz, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
All right, coming up on tomorrow's show, singer, actor, yogi and entrepreneur Atelia Harun joins us to talk about her love for fitness and her latest musical foray.
Potions Princess Rosie Mastor is also here to chat about her sensational business venture.
That's a tongue twister right there.
Sensational.
Never mind, she will explain tomorrow. But consultant dietitian Indra Balaratnam has more tips for eating right in a healthy living segment.
And in Trendsetter, our resident style guru Yogesh is back to help us look our best for all those Chinese New Year parties.
After parties as well now.
After parties as well now. Loose, keep it tight? I don't know. But as always, keep writing to us at VBuxx@astro.com.my and follow us on Instagram at VBuxx_HD.
Yeah, we're going to leave you with something special though.
A music video by Malaysian band Faz, who covered Teruke di Bintang, which was, of course, originally Yuna's tune. But thank you so much for joining us on the show. From me, Juanita.
And Roshan. Till the next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.